I'm already dead, man. I'm just not in the ground.
How did I manage to get a haircut and it looks longer now? It sticks up even more. Listen, man. You saw the thumbnail, you saw a freaky face leering into the screen, and you thought, yeah, I need more of that. And that is because you're a big sicko. And that's why I love you. Today on the Found Footage broadcast, we are going to dive into Strange Harvest. We're going to get into all the sick twists and turns, all the creepy and gory and tragic events that unfold. So I'm going to do a quick overview. I'm going to do a deep dive with spoilers, and I'll give you a big warning before the spoilers come. Don't you worry. We'll break the whole thing down. And then after that, we're going to get into the main question, the only question, the big question. Should you watch it? Roll the intro. Here we go. So, Strange Harvest. It's mockumentary time, guys. And this is an edgy mockumentary, a serious one about serious stuff. And you know how you know? Because they didn't record this in some studio, like some lame, unserious nonsense. No, we went into the warehouse. Look at this. Look at that exposed brick, man. We're here for real. We're serious. We're hardcore. Whatever this is. I don't know why I did. Our story starts with a very bad actor talking about how she hadn't heard from her friend for a little while, and her friend didn't show up for lunch. And she thought, wait a minute, she always shows up for lunch. That's her favorite thing. So she called the police, and the police said, she skipped lunch, and they came right over. And they find a very gory scene, and it is awesome. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying that. We're looking at three not alive people who don't look happy, and apparently it took a long time for them to go. But it's cool, man. It is. It's cool. It was a lot of cool effects. They're posed in an interesting way. There's a symbol painted on the ceiling, but not with paint. And it's just a very cool, elaborate setup. It's really neat. And so we dive into, who did this? So the mystery unfolds. Not a lot of clues for the longest time. For most of the mockumentary, the police are going like, we got nothing. It was so frustrating. Then we found another victim. And it just goes on and on like that, where they're talking about how they're not getting anywhere. They get a letter from the killer that's being very silly and cryptic about some kind of grand meaning to all this, but also being very childish and dumb. It's all like in the basic sort of edgy movie tick sheet, where you get a hyper gory discovery. I'm not gonna get into too many spoilers in the early days here, but you get a hyper gory discovery. You get a letter from the killer, who is like some kind of an evil genius of some kind. The letter itself is supposed to creep you out, although it never does. And then the police sitting around going, man, everyone was so mad at us for not solving this murder. And then they find another murder. So that's it. They do that quick, tight cycle. And then we have a grand finale. The grand finale has some special effects. Not a lot, but a few. And it wraps up. And there's a neat post-credit scene, and I won't even tell what it is. It's just more of an Easter egg for people who really, really love the movie. It doesn't really change the context of it. That's the movie in a nutshell. There's not a lot more to it other than that. We do flash back and forward through time to see just how long all these killings have been going on. There's some interesting plot twists as the killer has to do some clever things in order to reach their victim. That only happens once. And also, while that first scene that I described was crazy elaborate, all the other ones are just finding a body somewhere that had been killed in a bizarre way. None of them are really that elaborate. Oh, except for the pool. with the razor wire and the leeches. That was neat. That was neat. Neat. Is that the word I'm using? No, it is. It is. I'm going to own it. I like it, okay? I like the crazy, freaky stuff in this movie. And that's, that's why many people have rated it very highly, because of that sick stuff. That's a thing we're into. It's okay. I'm just gonna love myself for it, okay? Just gonna do a little self-acceptance here. A little breathing. Okay. And I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I do want to do a full breakdown of the movie and before I get into the should you watch it thing, because there's definitely going to be a lot of people who this movie rubs the wrong way, not just because of the gore, but because of the certain cinematic choices that can be triggers for you. Triggers in that whole, I hate when movie makers do that, it's so lame kind of way. But I'm going to save that for after the breakdown. First, here comes the breakdown. If you don't want the movie spoiled for you, skip to this time showing on screen right now, wherever it is, and we'll see you in a minute. All right, so I'm going to give you a breakdown of the movie. I'm not going to go into every little detail because it's not worth it, frankly, but I am going to go into a lot of it, and so we can sort of break it all down together. The movie opens with the detectives responding to a horrible murder of the family in San Bernardino. They make a big deal of this being in the Inland Empire. I think you kind of have to be an LA person to care one way or the other. They really spent a lot of time pointing out where geographically in this state all these killings were happening. This has no bearing on anything, but I guess if you live in LA, this hits you right there. I don't know. Anyway, crazy symbol on the ceiling. The guy must have spent hours with a ladder painting it up there. And gee, what does that symbol mean? We spend most of the movie trying to figure that out. There's also missing blood from the victims, and most victims that we run into throughout this whole thing have some kind of organ removed. And then we find some old police files. I'm going to be looking at my notes. I hope that's okay, man. I don't remember every little thing, and I don't have a teleprompter. And I like shadows on my face too. So we go back to some old police files and find a body that was discovered back in the 90s in the forest. Actually, no, it wasn't a body, was it? Oh, no. This was the head. This was the head. And none of the rest of the body was ever found. Then we find a nursing home murder where somebody just went into this nursing home and grabbed a canister and bludgeoned some guy and took his eye. The bog boy. Right. There was a boy discovered in a bog. It was just his torso, and his liver was missing. That's right. And you get a taunting letter. Our first taunting letter sent in the 90s to the task force, where the killer identifies themselves as Mr. Shiny. Are you ever going to get a Mr. Shiny t-shirt? Are you ever going to remember the name Mr. Shiny? Because it doesn't mean anything. We never hear his voice. I don't know. They tried to establish like a legendary serial killer thing here. It doesn't really work, but it's fine. The van. So we have a little bit of a red herring at this point. Somebody remembers seeing a white van near one of the scenes. They follow up. They find the guy who owned the van, and it had nothing to do with him. It was a stolen van. So that went nowhere. But we do find out that the killer used Wi-Fi at an internet cafe, and we get the name of Mr. Shiny, Leslie Sykes. Are you going to remember Leslie Sykes? Is that going to be like the infamous serial killer? No, you're not going to. It doesn't matter. So we get into Sykes' background. It's he had a spiritual awakening of some kind. It is not interesting. What else? Oh, but then we get the pivotal moment of the movie. This is the one time we get to see Mr. Shiny in action. This is the webcam moment. This is the moment from the thumbnail, actually. And it's, a girl doing a makeup tutorial, and then she hears some noise, freaks out. Mr. Shiny comes in, and it's sort of like anticlimactic. Like it's freaky in that home invasion kind of way. You know, he comes in and it's like this girl home alone, and then this stranger walks in the room, and you're like, oh no, this is going to be terrible. I mean, he just pulls out a gun and pop, pop. All right, sort of anticlimactic, you know? You thought it was going to be a whole elaborate ritualistic thing. I mean, he does rituals sometimes, and then other times he doesn't bother. So I don't know. But then he looks into the camera, gives us a nice, good look at his freaky, freaky mask. Oh, yeah, but something funny happens here. She survives because he uses a kind of a crappy gun, and the parents come home and chase him off. So Mr. Shiny, Leslie, whatever his name was, sneaks into the hospital, impersonates a nurse, helps a bunch of patients, and poisons her blood. The blood bag that she was going to get, and then takes off. So she ends up dying anyway. And that means something to him. I don't know. Oh, and he steals a lock of her hair. That's instead of an organ. All right. He does another killing of a guard that interfered with him a little bit at one point, doing the blood eagle. If you know, you know. And this has nothing to do with the ritual. He just did it to be fancy. And then we cut to like a German bookseller. The German bookseller has information on us about something that Mr. Shiny had been looking for, a special occult book that has a ritual in it that can only be done every 800 years when a planetary alignment is just right. And oh my gosh, that's coming up real soon. Then we get some admittedly freaky security camera footage of Mr. Shiny stalking a guy at a store. And then we just cut to the guy's corpse in the back room and took out a piece of the guy's, I think it took his heart or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter, does it? And then we finally get to our big climax where there's actually action, where there's stakes and tension. Oh my God, it's all coming together. So for whatever reason, Mr. Shiny is going out into the woods and he steals a baby. And the police seem to know where he is or where he's going, so they're going through the campgrounds, just trying to figure out where he is. So there's a bit of a cat and mouse. He sets up a ritual. He has a pyre set up with the baby in it, ready to go. The stars are aligning, and you see some crazy special effects in space as the leech god or whatever it is starts coming out. You start to think like, oh, it's gonna like possess the baby, or it's gonna possess Mr. Shiny, and the baby burning will be its whole birth thing, or what? It's all spoiled. The police show up. I gotta admit, kind of wanted the bad guys to win here. It would have been a lot more interesting, but no. And then we get this final letter from Mr. Shiny saying, oh, well, if you're reading this, I guess I didn't succeed, but it doesn't matter, and we'll try again in 800 years, which I'm supposed to care about. But the baby made it. Yay, happy baby, I guess. And that's kind of it. We see the detectives getting up out of their chairs and walking away from the interview. We have to include that so that you know that this is all real, because we're edgy. We're hardcore. There's long sequences of them standing up. Is that it? Okay, guys. And then credits roll, and we see the one detective out in the desert looking for the cave that Mr. Shiny had mentioned at one point that he had his big religious experience in. And why does that matter? I don't know, but it was a neat kind of after credits thing. I actually kind of liked it. It could have put a button on the whole thing in a way that I think the climax didn't. Because, you know, when you think about it, with the climax, I mean, we end up... He does all this stuff. You see some whooshy in space, and you're like, oh no, here it comes. And you're like ready for like all of this to finally add up to something. It's all this random nonsense to finally come together into a big moment. And no, he dies. So, guess that's it. Sort of disappointing, gotta be honest. But that's why I like the post-credit thing where the detective is still out there looking for answers. I kind of felt like it was an acknowledgement that we don't really have a lot of answers as an audience as to what the hell we even just saw. You know, it all doesn't really add up to anything in the end. It was just a lot of freaky stuff. But having said that, it's a lot of freaky stuff. You know, can't complain about that. So, that's it for spoilers. I think we'll call it there. And let's address the big question, the only question. I should probably have a scripted series of things to say about the question. Should you watch it? Yeah, I'll see it. Really, what it comes down to is this. I mean, do you like serial killer movies and mockumentaries? This thing has some fantastic practical effects. There's every time they find a corpse that looks like a real corpse, mangled in a very interesting way every single time. And if that does it for you, I mean, this puts Human Hibachi to shame. Like it's so realistic, and looks, all these effects look really great. I will put a few quick screen grabs at the very end of this video, because by then I probably won't get flagged, or maybe I will. I don't know. It's freaky, you know. There's freaky stuff in it. However, having said that, if you're the kind of person who pays attention to plots, and you need the story to create tension, and you need the story to create a haunting atmosphere, and you don't really care about the freaky visuals, this is gonna miss for you kind of big time, because in the end it adds up to nothing. Without spoiling anything, it just adds up to a lot of crazy crap that happened. And that, it doesn't give you anything to worry about. It doesn't give you anything, any haunting, oh my gosh, what does that mean? Like, there's not even a mystery really left in the end. So it's just sort of like, oh, that was freaky, I guess. And that might be a little disappointing for you if you're a very, very plot focused person. Having said that, they do bend over backwards to give you a show. You get a show here. And so, I mean, if that's what you're looking for, check it out. Oh yeah, and I guess if you kind of hate gore, miss this one. Really, you'll have nightmares. It's not worth it. That's about it. Next movie. It was actually picked out for me by a subreddit user over at the Found Footage subreddit. And I don't remember what it's called. Fairfield County 4. The Fairfield County 4. No wonder I couldn't remember that. It's a meaningless title. The Fairfield County 4. It could have been the Niagara County 4. The Jersey County 4. I mean, it's arbitrary. I hate titles like that. Just say something meaningful. Freaking bet you has 4 people in it. Anyway, it's a werewolf movie. We're overdue for werewolf movies. Gotta do some monster creature features in this channel. So that's up next. Stay right here for more long and short form. I'm going to start the film a day stuff again. Found footage content. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like. Do all the nice stuff. Yeah, that's it for now. See you later, killer.
This is Burkittsville, formerly Blair.
Make a video diary for my